Hey everyone, turn down music a little bit here. How are you doing? Welcome to another great Wednesday, another episode of the Builder's Block here on the Transverse Network. I am Jess, you are awesome, and I'm so excited that you're here and that we get to spend some time together. Um, I changed a lot of stuff up, I moved things around in my room, so things might not work perfectly, might need to adjust some things. Please bear with me, and thank you for being kind of an inadvertent test audience to see how the new setup works. But hopefully it will go smoothly, and we'll have a good time together building. I guess quickly first, just to check on the mic and stuff. Does everything sound okay? Is my voice okay? Do you hear the AC? Do you hear the music? Is the music too loud, too quiet? All that nonsense. Let me know if anything needs to be adjusted or it feels good. Oh, great. I'm glad. Hey, Midvani. Hey, Inashura. I think that's. Tell me if I'm pronouncing anything wrong. Sorry. And I with my new setup, I have a monitor here. Not as easy to look to the side, but I will adjust it eventually. But I see you occasionally, and thank you. And thank you, Jeannie, for confirmation that things are working, and for being an awesome mod and getting my title right and all that awesome stuff. You rock as always. Cool. Well, it seems things are going, and things are good, so we can start. And first, I want to say thank you. I think I saw it was Haas that followed just before the start. Thank you so much for following. It's so awesome that you've chosen to subscribe and or at least follow and see all the awesome things that are here on the Transverse Network, including, of course, this very show. Now, I apologize again for all of you who have heard this like 90,000 times, but just in case any of you haven't heard, here's the deal with this show. Builder's Block is a show which happens every week, but you'll see a different person each week, at least on a 3-week rotation. There's 2 other builders who contribute to the show along with me. We have Emily, who does amazing customized Star Wars droids, there's the words, and Rosa, who makes mecha out of kits. These fine little intricate sets. These are extremely cool. So 2 extremes of awesome hobbyists doing amazing things. And then here you have me, and I'm doing Lego things. I always love building custom Lego, as I'm sure many of you might feel the same. I've been building constantly since I was little. And while there are many of us who are building, I like to think I've made some pretty cool creations that makes it worthwhile to see what I'm doing, and I can share what I build and create with you. Hopefully I can hear from you what you're creating, and we can have fun along the way. Now I often, hey Ashley, thank you so much for coming by. Gotham City Girl, yeah, you're amazing as always. Right, so what I'm going to do, Ashley, who just said hi in the chat, did recommend, I think, a good thought that I've been splitting up the show and showing something I built in the past on Flickr, and then spending some time building. And I kind of was like evenly apportioned between them. And candidly, part of that was it's a little nerve-wracking to build things on stream. I build all things custom. Nothing ever has instructions or plans. And I basically make it up as I go. And while that's fun and all well and good on my own, sometimes when I'm building in front of others, I kind of realize, oh crap, how boring is this to watch me go find a piece and figure out what to build along the way. And so I tried to prep some things, but I was always worried that I didn't have enough prepped for a full 2 hours, and so I tried to balance things out. Blah, 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 blah. I probably have ended up doing a little bit too much show and not enough build in the balance. And so I'm trying to do a little bit more building on this stream and also make the showing be a little bit more live as well. So I've come up with some ideas that we'll play with here. Let me know how it goes, what you feel about it, and hopefully we'll find that good balance. And you get to actually see building, and I get to show off a little bit too, because sometimes building doesn't give you as much of an immediate result. I want to show you what I built in the past, because I can see what the end is. Like this building, for example, has taken. We've only been working on the interior, and it's still been 3 full shows of just working on the interior of this one building. So I want to also show you a finished product as well. I'm going to play around. Like I said, I just moved things around. I don't know if you can tell that in my office that there's a little bit of a different layout here. So I'm playing with the lighting right now. But I switched this desk 90 degrees in my office. So you used to see behind me my main desk, and where I often face that way, a different direction when I'm using my main computer. And then I had this other setup where I did work during the day, as well as had a little bit more space to be a building setup. which is, it's still the same surface I'm using, but it's been turned a bit. And that was because I wanted to have a little bit more evolved of a background, a little bit more composed of a background that I thought would look better for streaming and also work better for actual building, which is nice. And I put in a little light. Let's see if I can get it to turn on here. I can also do it through Alexa, but I don't want to like shout at Alexa while we're doing this because I think it'll get a little bit messy. But try to roll out the side here. Ooh, so I got one of my strips of lights back behind there, so a little bit more visible than I've had before. I have a few others I want to move around in the room. Maybe there'll be more in here, maybe more in other parts of the apartment. Make cocktail nights a little bit more interesting if I can put lights underneath the bar that are different colors. All these different thoughts. But again, I had all this stuff. I haven't necessarily found the right combinations yet, but I feel like I'm closer now. I'm also just going to show you, just because it's kind of neat. I'm going to rotate the camera here. Oh no, I'm going to use a mobile camera here and show you the rest of my desk. Because I think I also moved around all my monitors, and I think the result was kind of nifty too. So we'll go to the mobile cam, which is right now showing you the building that we'll make. I'm going to unplug it here and lift it up, and boom, there's my main computer display. Sorry for the shakiness. Try to hold a little more steady here. But I have that 49-inch monitor across the top, the vertical 27. I pulled my custom desktop, the first one I've ever built, up on top of the desk so I can actually see the lights. So yeah, it's kind of fun to have that set up and to get that figured out. I'll just jam that in the Legos. Oh, that is so much more stable. That is a much smarter thing. I should have done that first. So here's my setup. That's where I'm usually am, and so that's where I also have like a stream deck over there because I thought maybe I could stream over there. If I ever want to do streaming of video games or just chatting or something like that, if I didn't want to use the build surface. So that's also another place where I sometimes work. I try to have multiple places so I can shift it up and move around the apartment. Yeah, so I'm just inordinately proud of resetting all these things up in a way that I feel like looks cool and looks a little bit nicer, and also lets me use more of the apartment. So yeah, I'm just like to do that. That's a little brief bit of showing off. But I did not mean to just babble on about how I've rearranged the office. I think the important thing, though, will be how it affects this stream and how it plays out. One of the things I realized is my build cam, I have actually two attached. So right now this is working okay. It's decently in focus. It's a little bit fuzzy. I'd gotten a better camera that had better focus. I used it for a while when the desk was turned. When I rotated over here, I had to get longer cords to connect it back to that PC you saw on my desk. And I thought everything was fine. And then half an hour before this stream, I was testing all the setups, and I realized if I left this camera on for any amount of time, it would just freeze. And I had to unplug or replug the camera or restart it in the software. But like it wasn't staying on. So I'm guessing it's saying out the wrong output, or it's not happy being on a long extension cable. Maybe I need a powered extension. I don't know for the USB 3 that it's connected to. So I did a last minute re-switching of cameras, and so this is the camera I was using before, which is a little bit fuzzier, but still okay, I think, as the substitute build cam. But I don't know if you can actually tell. No, you can't in this particular view. There's two cameras on my mic boom right now. The one that I just rapidly unplugged, and the other one I just jury-rigged over top of it. That's also, I don't have the big overhead cam. I had that view that was showing the whole office. I was probably gonna move that anyway, but for now, it's now my substitute build cam. So we can show you all the good things. Yeah, here this is the sub one, and there's another one behind it you can't see that is the currently defunct, theoretically nicer camera that decided not to work today. So for now, we will make do, but hopefully there won't be any other disruptions to service. And if there is, please let me know. I will try to do a better job. I know sometimes I miss it, but try to monitor chat, and yeah, let me know again. Any hearing problems, any sound problems, and of course any video problems that hopefully I have fixed like in the 10 minutes before the stream. Okay, that was a long babble. I do still want to show you, I want to jump over to the screen briefly for any of you who are unfamiliar with my site, but this is me, just42.com, but it's also where you can not only have some details about me, but I also put in a lot of my Lego creations. And so one thing we'll return to is this the spotlight, which has been a spotlight for a while, but I'm not going to move on to another one until I finish it. But is the city hall that we've been building together. And I had some past creations. And so this is where you can go in if you want. If you haven't already seen things in the past and you want to see more, you can see a lot of the things I've highlighted here, as well as in the header and footer, or in the header at least, are links to my full Flickr channel with all of my creations. So you can see all that good stuff. But for today's sort of show off of past creations portion, I found some things. I found some things that are right here and not in my storage unit that I can show you directly and show off some of these things. And it's exciting not only to be able to show you something in person, which hopefully will be cool, but also, oh, sorry. Thank you for saying that's really cool and welcome. I see you in the chat. And thank you, Jeannie, for doing a better job of me saying hi to people in the chat and monitoring. But yeah, heyo, it's glad to have you here. But yeah, so I had these in-person things to show off, and that's cool itself. But it was also neat because I completely forgot they existed. I redid this whole office thing, right? I rearranged all this furniture. I was dragging things, rewiring things, resetting things up, making things neater, tidier, rewiring the lights too, as well as the monitors and stuff. And I dragged all of these display cases from different parts of the apartment to have one giant, you know, oh, as I bumped the desk too much, display of things and all of these different boxes, and have them more accessible both for streaming and building in general and as a background. But in the course of pulling all these things out of the Lego closet, at the very bottom back corner of the closet, I found a box of things I had built. Things, one thing I built a long, long time ago, and then a bunch of things I built probably just before the quarantine or near the start of the quarantine that I completely blanked on. Or no, I probably built them a little bit earlier than that. Whatever, you don't care. Yeah, the point is, I found these things that are cool things that I built, and I completely forgot I built. And so now you will get to be the first ever people to see these things, because I made them, I put them in a box, I moved, and I forgot that I even had them. So I get that's what I can show off. So yeah, there's a few things to go through here. The first one I'll show is one of the simpler ones, and it's actually an adaptation of an official Lego set. There's a Lego coach that came with one of like the town sets, and I thought it was neat, but I generally speaking, hey honey, great to have you here. Yeah, I generally speaking try not to build official Lego sets. I mean, I love them, I admire them. Some of the really special and huge sets I certainly create, or I construct from the instructions. But generally speaking, I buy Lego sets for the pieces because I want to try to do my own things. But occasionally something will come across and I'm like, I think that's a cool idea that was executed for the set, but I maybe want to try to take it a little bit farther and customize it a little bit. And so this is one of them that I made, a Lego coach, you know, a double-decker sightseeing bus based on an official set, but I reused the stickers and reconstructed it completely just to be at a different scale that I thought looked kind of cool. So this will be the simplest of several things I have to show you. There are my custom builds. And this is one that's most inspired by existing set. The other ones are a little bit more freeform, free build. But yeah, it's the Sightseeing Tour Bus here, slightly bigger tires than usual. You of course got the place to pop in the luggage there. That's all good. You got the driver, got a door at the front, and that's it. I decided just one exit. Maybe not the safest, but there it is. Let me see. I think does this open? Yep. I don't know if that's supposed to open like that. Oh, it is. It is. Good. I try to make my things usually be like relatively openable, but I don't always remember. So I was just proud of this because not only can you easily open it up to get inside there, but I also have it offset. So the bus, yes, is 6 studs wide, which is a typical width of Lego vehicles. But I have the driver offset, and I have the entire middle base of the bus is 3 studs wide. And doing an odd number isn't always easy. Like most things come in even numbers. So that whole middle portion is like offset with these little jumper plates to make it 1/2 stud off of the area below it, so that I can have seats there along one side. People can sit in them. They'll fit because their arms won't be touching the sides. If it was all the way at the side, the people wouldn't fit because their arms would stick into the wall. They wouldn't fit in there. And there was still room for an aisle down the side. So it felt a little bit more realistic to me to build it that way. So that was kind of neat. I was just proud that I managed to squeeze that in there. In the back, there are stairs. You can go up around the corner and walk up. So there's no magic teleporting on my double-decker Lego bus. You actually can walk up to the top floor. And there it is. So if you want to take a tour bus around, it's kind of reminiscent of the London ones, but it's definitely more of a U.S. style. So I guess it's more if you want to come around and take a tour of New York in a big red bus. Here you go. So that was custom creation number 1 that was in that box that I found of things I made. Moving on, I'm going to briefly pause for a sip of wine. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at chat, making sure I haven't missed too much. Oh, thank you, like the windows. Oh, that was something that was kind of cool too. I had the dark gray windows, and then I wanted to create kind of like a pattern going through the bus. It more stretches through like the front, that there's like this strip. It reminded me actually of Bulk Bus, which has that overlay over top of the windows that make it kind of look like it's all one black strip, and then they can see out from the inside. And so then I have that. Good evening to you too, Jill. But yeah, so the strip comes back here, and then it has like this little angle. And a lot of Lego sets do this with stickers, which is totally cool and fine, but I like to try to find brick-built solutions to it. So I actually have inverse slopes going on there, red and gray, so I can create the angled kind of cool little styling there, and still just use brick to achieve it. So thank you for knowing the windows, because I liked, that was a cool, again, alteration I made versus what the official set did to make that interesting. Cool. So I mentioned I was having some wine, and not like I'm like being a alcohol vendor or marketer, but I still like to share what I'm drinking. So I am having, I honestly bought this because the name made me chuckle a little bit. I'm having from Cupcake Vineyards Red Velvet. So I honestly don't even know if it's a blend or if it's any particular grape. I have no idea. It's good. It's fine. It was just silly. I like the name, not the priciest wine, but fun to have, fun to drink. It's a little sweeter, so probably not like a main course wine. I don't know why I'm being a sommelier. Let's keep going. So that was the first one. Yes, it definitely is a dessert wine. If nothing else, the name suggests it should be a dessert wine. Right, second thing in this box. This box had a lot of things in it. I also made a custom passenger train. I forgot I had this camera on. A custom passenger train. So this is one of the engines, and so of course, if you're doing a passenger train, you're going to do the full deal. So we have, engine, we have passenger cars, and so the wheels will, there we go, magnets will click on. Got another one. Oh, jeez. And the other end of the train. So I got the full deal all the way through. So I got this passenger train that I made. And this was a fun one too. Like sometimes it's a little bit more visually interesting at times to build cargo trains. Just because I have all these different color cars and things. But I do like the clean look of a stylized passenger train. So that's kind of fun. And sometimes it's a little bit harder because I want to, all the cars look similar or they look the same. And so that means a little bit more sourcing of pieces required to pull off that symmetry, especially if you're using some unique colors to do it. So my challenge to myself when I built this train, Cool. Hey, welcome. I see more people appearing or saying hi in chat at least, which is awesome, and I love that. Thank you. So showing off this train I made. This one, I think, which one is the engine? Right. Okay. So this one is the actual powered car. So this does work. It is a working train. This is the motor actually that drives it, and then there's a battery pack inside the train car. And so you can see there, it's just enough room to have a conductor. Oh, there's the camera. Have a conductor in front. Boop. And then still room. I could put in other chairs. I didn't put any seats in this. I got a little bit lazy at the end of this one. I didn't finish out the interior. But there's all the space to put in chairs and stuff. So you can have some passengers in here along with the battery pack driving the actual engine, pulling or pushing the train along. Yeah, and then this nice, easy roof to be able to sit in, change batteries, change people, all that good stuff. Yeah, the little pass-through into the other cars. So you got the good old passenger train. And this one was neat. I copied an element that does exist in an official set. There is a very cool all-orange train that LEGO released that I'm blanking on the name of. But they did this cool trick where they turned the windows on their side. So this is actually... these are normally vertically done, and then they're kind of plopped down on their side, and then there's different things going on with smooth tiles so it can sit underneath, and then these little constructions in the corner that will allow you to clip in the studs horizontally. So that's it was a little challenging to pull off, but I did immediately copy an official set to do it. But this is obviously my own color, and I'm sorry, I started to say, and I got distracted, that the challenge to myself was I had these royal blue base plates for trains, and I was never using them because I'm like, what train has blue? Like all of them were dark gray or black or things like that. I wasn't using these blue pieces, so I decided I'm gonna create a train that can leverage the blue base plate of the train. So I made these suckers to pull that off, and I really like how they came out. I also used this unique color of like yellow orange. It's not a typical shade, so I got to put that to use. It does have little opening doors on the ends. And like I said, the interior is empty, but you can put all the chairs and all the people and all the luggage and stuff inside. So yeah, I built this whole little working Lego passenger train, which I was kind of proud of. And we'll zoom out ever so slightly to be able to kind of see the whole deal. So again, this box had a ton of stuff in it that I completely forgot I built. But yeah, I liked how this one came out. And like even details like this on the engine, like there's like a little sort of ladder that the conductor or engineer would get up to get inside and get into the cabin there. So yeah, I was proud of this one. I thought it looked sleek, looked nice. Yeah, thank you for saying that. I can get extremely detailed, sometimes probably too detailed, but it's probably what I think makes them mine and makes them feel like it was worth it to spend the time to build too, by trying to think of all those little aspects. All right. So, going to briefly pause and check in. How things going? I do need to find a way. So I'd done it before when I had my different arrangement. I had my desk over there. I had monitors all around and above, and because I had a monitor above this one, I was able to read chat like right above the camera. I didn't feel like I was looking away from you while actually trying to engage with you. Right now I have a monitor vertically going on, and actually, let me show you. So right now, this is, that desk, my main desk, and what you're seeing here, what I'm looking at is this. So I got this going on where that monitor and my infinite hands is connected to the main computer to my right. Oh, sorry. Hopefully you can hear me. I was getting far from the mic there. This monitor is actually connected to a different computer, mostly because I already have 4 monitors connected to that computer and wouldn't accept a 5th. But also it lets me have chat on a completely different machine. I don't have to worry about things getting messed up with whatever I have going on here. But as you can see, it's a little distance away from my camera, so apologies that I want to look at you, and I also want to read the chat, and I can't necessarily do them simultaneously. That's what's going on when I look away. So, as I was saying, what's happening in the chat? All right. Awesome. Thank you, Midvani, both for your comments and for all the chatting with each other. And President Bush's funeral. Oh, wow. That's an interesting note there, Jill. I did not know about that train to know how to replicate it, so there was no intentional comparison. But I guess that sounds cool. I'll take it. If it looks like a real train, that sounds like success. Yeah, electricity is going, seriously. I do, like even now I have the office door closed, so I have the only AC running in here because I did feel a little guilty about like using all the power today. Um, yeah, so it's justly noted there. All the electricity. Plus, I guess my light on behind me there going through. All right, what was I doing? Other things. So I built several other things. That again, just found you don't have to kid about it. I agree. I don't I want to be responsible, but yeah, admittedly I do have a lot going right now. But we turn it off, and then I'm going on vacation for 2 days, so it'll be really off. So maybe you can balance it out a little bit. I'll just do that every time I stream. I'll go on vacation and not use power. So other things I built. So I'm gonna go behind me. Hopefully this will not be wildly unflattering, and grab some stuff off this shelf here. Okay. So if it wasn't obvious, there was a point where I went on a bit of a train kick. Um, I feel like it's like once I get in the vein, I kind of keep going for a little bit before I go back to my normal default of buildings. And and I think it's worth noting, in almost every display I contribute to, and especially in the displays I hope to do on my own in the future when I have the space for it in a future home, um, is that they all have trains in them. There's usually the town layout also involves a train layout. And while I never did model trains, I can confess to understanding a bit of the fun of that. I mean, obviously, there's I think an understandable comparison to Lego building and building that whole little town. For me, just because my love of building, of Lego, of being able to create the things I'm putting into the display, is part of why I would only ever, I think, imagine doing a Lego train display, but it is still fun. And so, and I have several trains. I think I'm up to, I want to say 35, 36 custom buildings like the City Hall. And I have over 70 cars. And trains, I think I have 3 custom full trains. I have another passenger train. In addition, I have some official Lego sets, but the custom ones, I have a few Lego train sets. I can show you some of the other ones just to compare too, as like my building progresses as I learn and do different things. So back over here, yeah, here's one of them. So this is another cargo train I made versus the one I'm about to show you. And I really like this one because I liked the engine mostly. That I did the color complements of blue and orange. I did use some stickers. That little narrow tapering off part, that's a sticker, though the rest of it is brick going back past the curve. But that engine reminded me a lot of engines kind of from the Fallout universe. So that's why I built that one that way. I have a couple coal hoppers with the appearance of coal with the bricks inside, and then some box cars. So I do really love this train. I made this train a while ago. But this is me returning to that, to doing another cargo train. Cool. Oh, hey, Maxine. Welcome to the chat, and welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming by. And to anyone else, of course, I missed. And thank you, I missed. Hemi, is it Hemi? I'm sorry. I feel like I say your name wrong and then forget it every time. So feel free to tell me if I did it right. But I recognize you, and it's awesome to always see you here or in Ari stream or in other places. But thank you so much for that gift subscription. That was super awesome of you. And I hope you enjoy it. Recipient. Oh, wait. Sorry, wait. Kind of go out of focus. Hemi is good, great. And Ake Neko-san. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you keep coming back and you appreciate what you get to see. Hey, Emily, yes, it's trains. I'm showing off a past train because I have a real train here in person to show off as well. I wanted to show and compare. But yes, we do. We have to keep everyone around. But it's super awesome to have you. Oh, right. Okay. I have another couple of custom trains, but I don't think I've actually taken pictures of them. I sometimes get out of, I do a bad job of keeping up. Maybe in this show. Yes. So this is another custom train of mine. This blue one. And that one was really cool, not only because it has the curved bottom, which I think is a neat kind of look. I did fully finish the interior of that one, but it's also 7 studs wide. So it's an odd stud number, which is difficult to do. There's a lot of people who go like strenuously back and forth between 6 stud wide trains and 8 stud wide trains and what will fit versus what looks more accurate. And so I decided to split the middle. So that particular train is 7 studs wide, way difficult to build, very complex, but I think it turned out really well. This is in a storage unit. I need to go get it and bring it back so I can show it off. But it also is a working train and it lights up at the front, all that kind of good stuff. So those are some of the other trains I've built. And so I don't know if you caught this, Emily, when you joined. But I was saying I found a box of things I built maybe a year ago that I forgot I had built. And so I've never shown them to anyone, never had anywhere before, but I found the box in the course of rearranging my office, and so I'm showing off some of those things. So I showed off the double-decker tour bus, I showed off the passenger train, and so this now is the freight train that I also made at the same time. And so this is pretty cool. Great. Oh, I'm glad you liked the show last night, Midvani. Emily always does an amazing job. I admit, I think I was out. Right, I was out having dinner with a wonderful trans woman who is visiting from out of town in Colorado, and had a connection with some other friends locally. So we got. So I didn't get to see the show live, but I will watch the recording. But I'm glad it went well. I'm glad to hear you liked it and that you thought it was good, because they're always good. Emily does a great job. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Emily. Ooh, I'm glad you're here. I hope this is more relaxing than that. But I'm sorry to hear the animals are sick. That's not fun. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. So this is this custom freight train I made, and of course you have to have boxcars for a freight train. And so this is that, and these are fairly simplistic, but I do like. I got a whole bunch of these sort of corrugated looking plates, not plates. I don't know what you call these. Or I don't remember what you call these. Panels. Which I think just look really cool, right? They look like a corrugated metal storage unit, freight. I'm blanking on all the words tonight. I cannot think of words. But I did it this style where they break apart into 2. I mean, in most real world situations, a semi holding a rig behind it would it would be one whole thing, right? That would be one container unit. In this case, in the Lego universe, a lot of trucks are smaller and they take the sort of half size. So I made these so they can fit onto those regular trucks, but still look like a full boxcar when it's all there together. So that's just kind of neat. Cargo containers, yes, of course. Obvious town, shipping container. Eventually, I sometimes get my words together. Ashley and Jessica, who I think are in the chat, can testify. I often get worried about my memory that I forget many simple things, even though I can wax rhapsodic about the incredible minutiae of different like sci-fi series. I forget everyday words all the time. So that's the most basic of what you're seeing here, right? I have these little boxcars. So I have 2 made with blue because I had lots of these blue panels. I had fewer of the red ones, and so I made a slightly different style for that. But I found these stickers for some other set. They're for actually another train set. But I made them into like a little sort of logo treatment here on these. But same size, same dimension. They could all be mix and match with each other, but I like the idea of them looking like they were one continuous unit while they're here on the bed. So I have these are the most basic portions of what I'm constructing. Thank you, Maxine. And the bread and butter of the cargo train. So we have the meat of the train there. But I decided to make this sucker a little bit more interesting by having some different kinds of cars. So I think I showed you in that Flickr album the coal cars I've made. So I decided to make some different suckers here. And so I made these sort of pressurized container And as you can see, it's from the Octan Corporation, so presumably this is holding natural gas or gasoline or oil, crude, something. But yeah, this is fun. I was just sort of proud of how these came out because I was able to make it all look rounded, even though there's like pieces that are sitting on top of each other in different directions. Some pieces are actually clipped on here, so it's not truly curved, but it kind of looks like it still is, but it can also be more stable. I put in these little bits on the end, so it looks like there's piping and little wheels there on the side to release them or pressure or whatever. I don't even really know, but I thought they looked cool. So I was proud with how these ones came out. So I have a couple of these pressurized containers as well for my cargo train. So I will put these suckers together. Hey Pickles, awesome. Glad you came by. I too hope you get sleep soon, but like, you know, later on, Emily, because I want you here because you're cool. All right, so I also have the engines of this train, and I wanted them. I made identical ones, two matching ones, intentionally, because so many cargo trains, especially when they're really long, like hundreds of cars long versus, you know, 5, they need more power to pull, and so you might have a couple of engines on there. You might even have them in a push-pull configuration to get things going. So I made 2 matching engines here, so I could simulate that if I wanted to. Only one of them actually is powered at the moment. So this one, again, this little back thing is the actual, or nope, it's this train. Wrong one. This one is actually powered, a little heavier. So this is the actual, again, motor that moves the train on the tracks. And then the battery pack is inside here. It's a little harder to get out, but I can just click here, and that's actually turning the battery pack on and off. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was able to, like, this is just attached back here, and then it's loose up here, and then I just click up and down and hit to turn it on and off. So it's just kind of neat. But yeah, so I have this good old engine. And now, because the whole thing doesn't lift off like the passenger train, I just have the front kind of ease up there so you can take drivers in and out, conductors, engineers, what have you. So yeah, this is my cargo train to go along with that custom passenger train I made. So I was very, very proud of that. Like, again, as cool and streamlined looking as the passenger train is, I think this train is more visually interesting. It came out more involved, and I think this is, I don't know, it's one of my favorite things I've made lately. I just think it's kind of beautiful, which is kind of crazy that I forgot that I made it and that I found it in a storage unit. But I like that I have like these little great patterns. I used this tile to kind of look like it's a logo, an arrow going there. This white stripe going through it, being all brick built. I don't know if you can tell, but that's actually, there's a hook right there, and then that hinge is clipped onto it with a smooth tile attached to it at an angle, and then inverse slope green pieces going underneath of that, so it looks like it's one contiguous kind of shell over top of this engine portion, even though it's all assembled by individual little bricks. And then the front is actually clipped into the front, so it's a little more involved there to create the effect. So these pieces are actually like on their side and then clipped in there. So I was just really happy with how this came out. I rebuilt this front like 4 times to get this particular set of angles that I thought finally looked right. But yeah, so I'm really happy with how these engines came out. It's one of, as I said, favorite things I've designed lately. Yeah. All right, cool. How's it going? Spring-loaded ejection seat. That's next level. I like to think I'm like a pretty high level, but that's next level. I can't, mechanical functioning things that like aren't pre-built engines, motors rather. That's a whole nother level. If you actually are into that kind of thing, there's a method of building, which I might have talked about before, called Great Ball Contraption, where people build different units that are all designed to accept a Lego soccer ball or basketball, which is like a set size, a little ball that they have from official sets, and that they enter in at one height and they enter at a height. And what happens in between, you can do all kinds of different things. And they tend to be all kinds of different motorized crazy contraptions to accept the balls and then corkscrew them up and then down a ramp and then jump and shoot and lift and then land. And because they hit the same standard, you can put everyone's different creators can build their own little segments of ball contraption, plop them together, and they will all work together, in theory at least. And so I see huge displays where they go for 40 feet, 10 feet aside of a table, and they go in a big loop, and they just continually run. And it's like this Rube Goldberg machine of bouncing along pieces. So I know that wasn't what you're getting at with the ejection seat, but spring-loaded functioning things, it's definitely a strong passion for a lot of people who are a little bit more engineer-minded and love to build in Lego. So that's a real thing you hit on there. Yes, Rube Goldberg, you got it. Even had some babble about it. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so this was another thing that again was in that surprise mystery box that I apparently left to surprise myself with later on. There's one last thing in there that I built that's a little bit older, and it broke. So we get to not only see it, but I'll also get to put it back together here on stream. Let me just get the train out of the way here. Here, while I'm doing this, you can stare at my computer again, because I'm just very proud of that. Oh, and there's the other train. I forgot I left that on the screen there. Cool. All right. So, back to build mode here. So this is a bunch of stuff that I got back not too long ago. You can see there's a number of broken pieces, or at least to one of these buildings. And see how well I can do at remembering how this went together. That's a lot of the fun, right? But this scale is called Micropolis, I believe. Anyone can correct me if I'm getting this wrong in the chat, but I'm pretty sure this is Micropolis. And I just realized this is missing a piece, but that's okay. I have extras over there. Be right back. I'm going to roll over and get this piece. Or roll part of the way. No. No. Here we go. Just noticed that this is missing a single piece that I don't see immediately here in the bag. Oh, of course it's here. I just missed it. Well, here's a box of gold pieces, which I will not need because I found this little stud. So rebuilding that one was easy. Boom, there it is. But I was mentioning the Rube Goldberg standard. The notion with this is that I just realized there might be another. I think that might go there. Wow, this is more broken than I realized. There. Is that right? It's been so long since I made this. Let's assume that. All right. I reserve the right to redo this, but this standard here would be interested in the process of how you make the pieces. When you say make the pieces, do you mean these individual constructions, or like how Lego forms the pieces? Sorry, I'm not quite sure if I follow, so please feel free to elaborate, and I will do my best to answer your question. And sorry for not catching that. But yeah, Micropolis, I'll keep babbling in the meantime, as you think about that, is a standard where you make these very, very tiny buildings, right? Like we're used to when you see most Lego constructions, you're building at something called minifigure scale. And those are things that Lego minifigures are designed to go inside of. And so there's a certain height to doors and windows and car sizes and train sizes and all that kind of stuff, all built around the notion of here's this standard Lego minifigure, go inside of it. Avenging Pineapple, that's an awesome name, is now following. Thank you so much for following. So glad to have you here and for making that choice. It was a good choice you just made. To follow us here on the Transverse Network. But yeah, so this Micropolis standard is that you're building to this much tinier size, where like these little things right here are all cars in the parking lot. So that's that little dimension there to give you a relative sense of scale. And so that's kind of fun. And so some people, again, just like everyone has specialties, I tend to build town things at the modular scale for minifigure designed pieces. Other people build Micropolis scale things. And it has its own set of standards so that, again, you can take anyone's Micropolis set and clip it in with someone else's, and boom, you can create a giant town. And one guy in particular in our town, John Clash, makes this amazing series of things. In my Lego club I'm a part of, he specializes in Micropolis, and they're gorgeous giant towers. And so I've decided to take a stab at building some. And saying custom colors and shapes. Oh, I'm following you. So the custom colors, it's less that they're custom. There's some colors that are very hard to find or less common, and so they're more expensive or they're in fewer sets. And so getting large amounts of them can be tough to get or come across. So I store up and save a lot of things. In fact, like that's some of what's going on back here behind me. Like this is a box of all of Lego pieces, right? This is not a common color. Hard to come across. I got lucky with in finding some, and then also in the club I'm a part of, we have the ability to sometimes make bulk purchases from Lego, and so I was able to buy a lot through that. But otherwise, it can be tough to come across. So some of these things is when I say that, I probably meant that it was more I was using a color that's less common, which was part of the challenge to me to leverage that and introduce that into a set, and make it still look cool and be thorough. While using one of those less common shades. And then custom shapes, I mean more that, like the train, yeah, weren't necessarily slope pieces that naturally hit this, so I would like assemble this slope and then this curve and do different combinations of them, and then put these angled pieces on their side to create a shape that isn't naturally or isn't commonly available in Lego pieces or Lego sets. So that's probably what I'm after. They're like, obviously the pieces themselves aren't custom created. It's they're custom arranged to create a different look or a different dimension or a different end result than you might typically see when you just clip things on top of each other. So that's probably what I was babbling about. And I hope that answers your question. But yes, that's exactly. I actually was thinking about like military kind of things with the olive pieces and maybe doing that. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. The fast is the computer you're making. I think I missed something there. I am not making a custom Lego computer. That would be awesome. I have seen someone do it, but it's just like the case was out of Lego. It's still just like glued in regular components. But yeah, that's cool. And yes, configuration. Good word choice. All right, I'm gonna put the olive back. And sorry if I misspoke on anything, pineapple, that threw off your. I would not want to claim I'm building a custom Lego computer because that's huge, and I'm not that cool. Okay, so Micropolis scale. One of the things that's happening here is that you have dimensions for where road goes and sidewalk goes. So again, boom, you can clip this together, and now you have suddenly like a two-way highway and crosswalks and sidewalks when you start combining these buildings together. And so these particular buildings were with the buildings of a few other people, and they are on display in the Lego store in Queens for like 3 years. I built them, we gave them to the store. It used to be way back when that our Lego group could go in and we do a display in the Lego store, and they would also let us buy things like at a discount. And so that was a big combo. Like we get to come in, they get to feature some of our custom things in their display unit and show it's possible with the brick. And then we, like Lego gave us a discount kind of in return. It was a nice combo. But I think there were some disagreements between Lego retail and Lego corporate. It's changed lately, but my understanding is for years, Lego wasn't as comfortable that it would have adults basically building with their toys. They picture them as just for kids. Even though, as it turns out, adults were 15% of all purchases for themselves, not just like for kids. So that that's changed a bit, and they've started to embrace uh, builders of all ages with their pieces. But yeah, anyway, that 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 deal went away, and so this display unit, which was supposed to be like a one-time let's swap in some more stuff, became essentially permanent. And so my stuff stayed in this display unit in the Lego store in Queens for years, and then finally they cleaned them out. They redid the interior of the store or something, and so I finally got them back. I completely forgot they existed, and I put them in this box, and now I found them again after forgetting they existed again. So this is my Micropolis scale Legos. I get that, Maxine. It can be tough. That's where it's something I know I have a passion for because I really do enjoy it and get focused on it so much that it is relatively straightforward for me to spend my time doing this. And that's not something that's common for other people, and so that's totally okay and totally understandable. You're passionate and you focus on what really what you love, and for me that's this kind of building, and that's cool. But not necessarily for everyone, and that's okay. What was I was gonna show something else. Oh, I want to tell you that this. So I mentioned that Lego Club a few times, and that is this, iLug NY. Lug means, and you can kind of see it under words underneath here, but Lego user group. And there are lugs, recognized Lego user groups that are recognized by Lego, and they then get have the opportunity to do get official support from Lego because they like it. They like our groups going out there. We do shows. Obviously we love it because we get to build custom things and do giant displays, and it'll be a library or a museum or wherever, and then people come in, they bring their kids, everyone gets to see it, and Lego gets advertising effectively, right? They love that, and so then they'll support it. So they'll give us maybe a box of spare bricks so that we can have an event where people can go into the raw brick and build their own thing, or we'll have sets to give away as prizes in a competition, or all kinds of different things. So it's pretty great to be in a lug and be a contributing member because you do get access and opportunity to do things, and Lego gets something out of it because they get someone advocating for their product. And so I joined iLug NY years ago. I haven't been as active lately, mostly because I've been going out and about as I discovered myself, this version of myself. But I've started to reconnect with them. I just came out to them, and they've been awesome. And because of course, quarantine, we have not been doing shows. We've not been together, but I'm hoping to see people at Brick Fair, New Jersey in September. But when I joined that club, they had a logo, which was a perfectly fine, totally cool logo. It had Comic Sans. That killed me a little bit inside, even though I know that's a good thing for people with reading disabilities and other sorts of things. There was a common joke that Common Sans is like a bad font, and so I lobbied very heavily to change the logo to a non-Comic Sans based font. And so I designed this. I made this as like a city skyline out of plates, and then this as our logo. So this is my design for the club, which we adopted. They had official t-shirts made for the club, but they're all like boycott shirts, so I made my own because I wanted a different cut t-shirt. So I also made like 5 different t-shirts in different colors and different placements of the logo. And so I just got them, just went them through the wash. So I'm wearing it for the first time. So I figured, where better place to wear that than here on a Lego stream, my iLug NY t-shirt. So a little bit of show off there. But Micropolis, and some actual building for the first time ever, not just showing off. So that was this one unit, which I don't know if it was like a mausoleum, a courthouse. It looks kind of like a Greek monument. I don't really know what I was thinking. It just looked kind of cool. I made these fence pieces into be columns. But this is the first Micropolis building I ever built. And then I went and built a second one to put it in the display in the show. And it broke apart, so we are going to attempt to figure out how to rebuild it here as building exercise number 1. So away we go. This part's pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure I can follow this one. This one came apart relatively intact. Cool. So building number 1, we have a parking lot behind. There's like a little doorway down there, and then a garage, a loading dock or something for this apartment building, I guess. I like how these windows come out. This was a cool technique and something I learned in the course of doing this Micropolis build. So these little pieces are all of these pieces, these little headlight pieces, basically. And the camera's not focusing, but no, it's not really working. Anyway, these little headlight pieces are designed that, you know, they clip on the bottom, they clip on top, and then they have a clip on the front where you usually put a light. And so a lot of old school Lego cars would have this. Yeah, it could totally be a mosque. That makes sense, Mandrani. But yeah, this piece is typically oriented this way in pieces. This building, all these windows are made up of these pieces on their side. And this little thing here, it's width, and you can kind of maybe see, I'm sorry it's not in focus, but you can see it's like indented a bit. That's actually 2 plates high. So if you flip on its side, and then you do 2 plates high next to it, and boom, you can suddenly clip it into display on its side, and it'll make that display. So that's a neat technique to make micropolis sized windows with these headlight pieces. So that was the thing I didn't know until I built my first micropolis set, and I thought that was cool. So yeah, I've got this little giant awning, which is probably not really to scale. The windows, a little storefront or something there on the ground level, but there's that one building on this base. Right, so let's figure out what these other pieces are about and for. Cool, did I just hear another follow? Steal at Home. Thank you so much for being Steal at Home and coming here to watch this. We are so glad to have you here, and we hope you have fun here on the Transverse Network as you see all of our great shows and things. I am attempting to figure out how the heck this was constructed, because I definitely don't fully remember. Well, this is interesting. So this building, you can see, is like offset. That to have this sort of like cantilevered kind of awning / balcony approach, all these pieces are offset, and so underneath here you have this is 3 studs wide, and it uses these plates with these jumper plates with a central stud that are offset in 1/2 stud in all directions. So I can then clip this on top of it, this 4 stud wide piece, and now it's equidistant around the side, 1/2 stud kind of projecting around it. So that was cool. I forgot I did that. That's pretty neat. So that's I guess this half of the building. So just like it, the footprint for this building is 4 studs wide, but these pieces may I connect it at the 3 stud point to continue that effect all the way up from the ground, but still have it be evenly placed across an even number of studs. I hope that makes sense as I do all this babbling. So I'm pretty sure this went up the side. These little window pieces went up the side here. I imagine I was doing like an office building or something here. That's what's going on with this particular building. And I think these go like this. I think what's happening is, I'm sorry, I'll center this so you can see it. I think what happens, I don't know which is, I guess it's the same distance, but we'll include the gorgeous frame that that Emily made. It's wrong of me not to show it more often. But this little side here will let us build this back up. Cool, I alternate it, so I'll do this side. And so you can see that this piece is still sticking inside of these clear pieces. Hold up closer so you can see this. So, right, it's actually inside there a little bit. So these pieces, by being something that kind of loops out and around, can let these other floors kind of fit in between them. Wow, I was clever with this. I completely forgot I did this. I did this years ago. This is cool. So I can keep on putting these floors in, creating that, again, that sort of cantilevered effect and that 1/2 stud offset while having it still fit all nicely together. And here we go with the 4th floor. Boom. And then this, oh, look at that. Well, I'm gonna do that last. That's gonna go on last. All right. So back down here on the ground floor, what's going on here? I have Right, that will go there. Okay, I think what happened is to make the building kind of be a little bit more hollow, stick these pieces down in here, the back there. Stick that on right there. And then this all kinda, sorta, squish in there. And that will should clip on top. Whoa. There. It's got this sort of like open atrium, 4 stories going on here, and then these other little sides. This is probably an office building or something going on here. Yeah, there's that little effect there, and there's still a little alleyway that the cars could go back to the parking lot behind that building there. Then this back here, I think these plants are supposed to go on here. I think these are like little trees. Boom, little trees. I have these other pieces. I don't think these actually went with this. I think these are other loose pieces that got thrown in here randomly. At least I don't recognize where they go. I have this gold disc. I'm just going to arbitrarily put that on top of that. I think that was cool. Boom. Yeah, I guess these are all extra. Must be these trains supposed to be taller? Yeah, make a taller tree. Boom. Alright, I'm going to just throw these pieces. Do I want to just toss them aside? Yeah, we'll just toss them in the giant bin. I'm going to just really hope that I don't suddenly remember what those were for. We're just going to be confident that they weren't a part of this, and I threw them into a giant box of unmixed Lego. One other random thing, if you are interested in the base of this, that this Micropolis standard is built on something that's similar to a standard called MILS. I forget what MILS stands for. I should remember that. But a modular interlocking Lego system, I don't know. It's something. But it's another way of constructing a standard so that you can combine different people's creations and have them fit together. So this has this 16 by 16 plate. It has 2 of them with these bricks in between, including these Technic pieces with these little holes where you can put a pin in. And so these things can, in theory, pin together. And you could have them attached to each other. And that way you can kind of construct a fairly firm base of a whole city with these individual units, and they can still pop apart when you want to. And so that's that little standard. And there's something similar for Lego buildings, where you use the typical sort of super thin base plate that comes with used to come with official sets, and then you do the same brick approach of a certain height, and then you put plates over top. And the neat thing about that is it's a sturdier base. It takes up more pieces, so it's harder to do. I don't want to tear apart my buildings to rebuild them onto the Mills base plates, because that would be a nightmare. But it lets you build depressions, like you can build into the ground. You can have a sidewalk above the road. Like you can do different things. So it does give you some cool flexibility, but it's sort of easier if you do that away from the start. I built 30 custom buildings with very involved floors. If I tried to tear them apart and rebuild them on Mills, it would be a nightmare, and everything would fall apart, and I shudder to think about it. So I don't do that with buildings, but I get it, I appreciate it, and that's kind of done here with the Micropolis standard. So there was a very long-winded description of what's going on here with Micropolis buildings. And so I hope actually this worked, that this was a combination of showing and building. Get a little bit more real interactivity going on versus just showing my my Flickr channel. Cool. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a little sip, and then we're going to start building more of my town hall, if that sounds cool with everyone. So everyone doing okay? You doing all right? Oh, get a tray, set the pace on it. The tray needs to fill the view of the camera. Interesting, interesting. I mean, I actually did a plastic tray originally. I did a mat here because Legos got really loud on a tray. But I can see maybe putting it on a tray just for display to hold up or something. I can follow that. So, interesting idea. Thank you for that tip. Definitely will think about that. All right, for now, I'm going to briefly switch it back to standby. I'm going to get a sip. I'm going to, I think, take out my contacts because my eyes are going out of focus, and then we'll get to building. So if that sounds good, then stay, stay, stay. Did you all behave while I was gone? Keep an eye on you. Keep an eye on you. Hi. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for still being here. Thank you for misbehaving, Jeannie. That's good. It's sort of like weird, like different levels of focus now with my glasses on. My eyes are so bad that they don't make contact strong enough commercially to correct them fully. I mean, it's good, but it's never like perfect. So I like how I look, and it's much easier to do my eye makeup when I'm wearing contacts. But there's a whole nother level of relief going on right now. Now that I have my, both visually and physically, now that I have my glasses on. I also feel like I can see adjustments I'm going to want to do with my lights, but that'll be for another time. More education. I'm pouring a heavy pour of wine. Didn't mean to do that much. As we continue on, as we get to the next phase. One thing I'll mention, it might be worth like looking up and checking out if you're interested in doing all of this. I don't. It's sad that I don't know it because I feel like I should, but I love the Douglas Adams reference. If you haven't picked up in my username being just42, it's for a reason because the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So I love that that's there and that you're doing that. That's you, Frank. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching. Oh, it's awesome. Sorry, coworker who's here in this chat. Thank you for appearing, and so glad you chose to. I hope it's at least mildly interesting. You do your amazing cooking and now pizza making. So this is a deeper look into my my little obsession. What was I gonna say? Oh, thank you. You rock. And it is a great book, and that's kind to say. Right, Micropolis. Before I forget this, I just wanted to say That's standard. Like, I said I like to do lean the right way. That's standard. Like in another building that's in progress, but I like to build this minifigure scale buildings, which are so often what you see in typical Lego sets. But the Micropolis standard is, I think, in some ways, sometimes a more accessible standard. Not because it's any less sophisticated. In fact, it can get really detailed and really crazy techniques used to create, something a micro scale using a macro scale piece. But it's less demanding and resource intensive. If you want to build it and you don't have a big collection, you don't have a 40-year built-up collection of pieces, then you just have a few. Doing something at the Micropolis scale might be more practical. So for any of you who want to delve into custom Lego building, you might want to look up Micropolis, because that standard, again, might be something that you can, an easier thing to bite off and chew than necessarily going for a full modular building, like some of these ones in the background. My sushi restaurant or my bar/apartment building that are also in progress back there. Cheers to a fellow near blind person, Midvani. Yes, my eyesight is terrible, but we can commiserate next time we chat and see each other. Right, so building. I probably should have done this and gone over and got my stuff when I went on break to take out the contacts, but I do want to show you one other thing I just found as I came back that I built and forgot about. That was in that box of things I built and forgot about. And that is this little dude. So this, arguably it could be like a bomb disposal bot or any kind of thing, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, what I was trying to do was build a MALP from Stargate SG-1. So, no worries, Pickles. Thank you for stopping by. Always a delight to have you, and glad you got to come by for a little bit. I appreciate that. And you have a good night. Right, so this little dude, I think was, that MALP, like there's a little, it's not quite the same shape and dimension, but I think it's close. That there's lights on there, there's antenna and things to signal back, a little local control, and the extending, it can rotate, the little arm can extend to reach through the gate and have a camera and see what happens before the rest of it goes along. So yeah, I think it's like the first gen MALP versus the big multi-wheeled suckers that where you could drive in the later parts of the series. But yeah, yes, I'm sorry, Pickles, enjoy your pie. Chicken leek. I don't know, it's not my kind of thing as a pie. I'd go like try rhubarb or apple, but you do you. You have your savory pie. But yeah, this is that's I think what I was thinking when I made this, because I also have a bunch of Lego SG-1 figurines. Let's see if I have it readily accessible here. Back to album. So I have built in the past. Right. So there's SG-1. You got all of them. You got Daniel Jackson in his map, and Dr. Samantha Carter, Colonel O'Neill, and Teal'c with his saw. And then a whole bunch of other SG teams back there in the background. So I got all of them, made all these guys a little while ago, and a full Stargate, and so I think I made this MALP to go along with them once I can find it. I've never had a buttermilk pie. That is fascinating. I need to think about that. So I had these little Jaffa jackal guards and a Stargate. So I did make a Stargate and all these guys. So now I'll have a MALP to send through as well. I can fall down the stairs on the other side. So yeah, sorry, that was just a little show off of that past build, but that's, I think, what that will go for. I do not mean this as insulting. It just made me think of a Garrison Keillor joke for anyone who knows Prairie Home Companion or Garrison Keillor. And I realize I don't know if this is bad or good, because I feel like there's a slight Me Too with him, which was very depressing if true, but I did not follow it closely. But I remember he once did something where he said pumpkin pie is the mediocre of pies, because the best pumpkin pie you ever had is not really all that different from the worst pumpkin pie you ever had. And I enjoy pumpkin pie. I don't mean that to be insulting, but that did kind of ring true for me. I haven't found a lot of variety in my pumpkin pies. Pumpkin donuts, whew, that's solid stuff. Okay, that was a lot of babble. I said I would build more, and I'm not doing it. So let's do building. I am going to show you how to do this. I'm going to walk around. I set up a little card table to have some pieces more readily available. So I'm going to walk around the table. I'm sorry, I keep touching my hair. I keep adjusting it. I remember that quote. That was solid early on in the series. Oh, sorry. I think I had to allow it, but I think this is an allowable quote because it is a reference from Stargate. It is not something being said inappropriately. So I think that's okay. Um, you did say genitals. I mean, but yes, that was a quote from SG1 and a great one on equality. All right, I'm gonna walk around the table and take the town hall behind the wine bottle there and bring it back over here so we can build with it. So I'm gonna set this down. You will see me suddenly appear in the background. Oh, jeez, this got really. As I take it apart and bring it around so we can keep on working on the second floor of the town hall and see how much farther we can get. All right, so I might be away from camera for a second. But I'll be right back. All right, and don't worry, no need for sorry. It's a good quote, I get it. And hopefully now it's showing. All right. By the way, that's the first mod action I've ever done, so if that was wrong, Jeannie or anyone else, feel free to correct me. All right, here we go. All right, my poor town hall, my poor city hall, I should say. There's an official town hall set. This is the city hall. The poor city hall has been decapitated. You can see the first floor that we've worked on in the past, and we finished off, so that's awesome. So that's all done. So now back to the second floor and getting this sucker done. Let's see how far we can go. All right. Cool. Sorry, did you get the you caught what happened? There was a quote from Stargate SG1. So the quote was acceptable, but it had a no word in it. I allowed it, and I hope that's okay, because I've never done a mod thing before. So feel free to, remonstrate me, fix it, whatever. All right, so, yeah. Second floor. The thing that I'm here to do. All right, slightly bigger view, pull out here. So what we have going on here are a few different things. When we last met, I tore apart the interior of the second floor because I realized what I had laid out I didn't love, wasn't as free flowing, and so we re-engineered it a bit. And so these little pieces kind of go together here, and this goes area over here. And so we have kind of two offices now, and then you come up the stairs from either side of the lobby, and you can walk right through. And now there's room for a balcony looking down over the main council chamber. And then there is now a larger mayor's office to go up at the top. So that's the things to complete, is the rest of this balcony and the hallways, what goes in these offices, and the mayor's office. And so I want to try to tackle that and finish that off. This particular city hall does not have a casino on the second floor. Arguably, you're gambling with a number of things when you get into politics, but no actual like slot machines or blackjack or anything. You know, I imagine sometimes maybe on the weekends some of the staff get together, but it's not really a casino. So sorry to disappoint on that front. That's great that you say that, Frank. Yes, I heavily thought about being an architect. In fact, I was convinced all through high school I was going to be an architect. That was my expectation. And then I went to a career fair in 7th grade, and I met an architect from Carnegie Mellon. I thought he was super boring, and so I decided to go into business. And so, like that, my life got completely redirected, and I went in a non-architecture direction. You know, and I have some friends who are architects now, and it's a good question on whether or not that would be, you know, perfect fit. I mean, I do love web design. I love what we do at the office. Like, I love the current work. So I still feel like there's that opportunity to be creative. But I do joke that Lego building is my way to sublimate and avoid a midlife crisis. I can kind of divert those energies into this creation versus suddenly quitting and becoming an architect. Besides, it's like a 5-year program. It's very intense and hard to do. And it's really hard to get a job. And then maybe you're just working for a firm designing the interiors of, like, Burger Kings. So doing the true, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright independent creativity, not super common, and so it's probably just as well that I found a different niche to play around in. The Lido deck, that's a solid reference. Man, cruising, it's been a long time. Okay, so yes, it was very similar to that. And even back then, when we didn't necessarily know Ben's horrible political opinions, but that's another thing entirely. All right, so this second floor, let's finish off this lobby. We got pretty close here. So I think last time when we left off, I just rearranged things. I did this little design for the floor up here. I built these pictures and plopped them on there. Oh, I threw a whole bunch of random furniture into the mayor's office here that we can move off to the side. But there's still a couple little wings here to finish off and to fill in. So I will do that. And then I guess the hallways, and we'll figure out what goes in these offices, mayor's office, and we'll see how much we can do in the next 37 minutes. And hopefully this is fun and enjoyable for everyone. Again, also check on volume, voice. I turned the music way down. I hope it's not too much. You can still hear it a little bit. Eventually I'll learn how to do all this stuff. Eventually I'll figure it out. In the meantime, I'm delighted for the opportunity and for having you here. So, to you. Okay, so finish the floor. Finishing off the floor. There's actual words. We are going to use light tan. We are going to use brown, reddish brown, as it's officially called by Lego. And we are going to use some dark brown, which I don't think is over here. I think it's back behind me. Where did I put my dark brown? Do any of you know? Anyone? All right, let me know. Oh. It was over there. I was too fast. So we have dark brown tile. All right, so let's see what to do here. We got the balcony. I have a couple of pieces for like chairs to be in an angle on the corner, so I have some like little in the little nook there looking down. So I just need to leave space for this 2x2 space of brown. Now, it was a good guess. Actually, it was a left side bin, so you're kind of right. Unfortunately, these curved pieces on the bottom, like I don't love that there'd be a gap, but I don't really have pieces to fill it, at least not currently, and not these colors. So we're gonna have to leave a little bit of light gray showing through the floor. So I apologize for that design discrepancy. Please forgive me. But we'll see how much else I can do here as I finish this off. So I'm just gonna kind of arbitrarily lay some tiles in here. Normally, I was playing these out super detailed last time, so I can create like a nice design. But I'm gonna be a little bit more fly by night with this one. We're just gonna throw some things in here, see what happens. All right, just started looking over. Everything okay? All right. Yeah. Jeez. Right. So one of the things I'm wondering about here is this floor. It's pretty sturdy, but there's still some weak spots, and that's partly because these gray plates, there's actually a little seam there. And so part of me would normally like line this wall with dark brown, but I'm kind of wondering if I need to reinforce it instead a little bit with the plates to help hold it all together so it won't fall apart. So I'm, hence my hesitation right now. Oh, jeez. It's already coming apart. Oh, this is bugging me. All right, this should be sturdier. Part of the problem is actually up here. So this whole back wall is only attached at the bottom, which is not as sturdy as I like. It's fine when it's sitting in the building because everything else is all holding it together. It's keeping it intact. But loose here, it really feels rickety. I don't love that. So let me try to think if I can rebuild any of this to make it a little bit sturdier. I think I can. I'm gonna try something. All right, I'm gonna have to go out of frame for a second just to grab some other pieces, but I'm gonna try to sturdy this up. We'll finish the floor. We'll keep on trucking. Be right back. Sorry. Ashley will yell at me because I did not prepare this in advance. So I was off screen. Did not mean to leave you alone. Cool. Seems it can be put together. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's part of it. Like what's going on right here is this little piece needs to be relatively sturdy to like kind of fit into the piece next to it when it's attached to this wing. I like the colors to be contiguous. So I'm sorry, I'm going to decline the Valkyrie's color. But I also want to go in here, but I don't love that that's going to disrupt the brown. I like to have that this is all one color, but I'm going to make a compromise for stability's sake to switch it up a little bit. So all right, I'm going to take this little corner piece and this little brown piece. We'll have a little bit of dark gray peeking in here. I'm going to take this 1x4 plate off, and instead with this 1x1 plate on the bottom here, flip it there, flip it there. So now this is a little less sturdy, but this is going to be much more firmly attached to the base. So that, I think, balances it out. That little piece on top there. All right. And then reattach this, and boom. Ah, much sturdier. All right, I like that. That'll be good. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Sorry, I forget. Hands out of the frame here. Do that one. And that. So now that's, right, like a little L, but it still has that on it there. Take this off. I put the brown on the bottom and top of this little L-shaped plate. Clip it there. And now, boom. So, wall firmly attached. It looks great from the outside. There's that one little detail of that different color in there, which irks me a little bit, but it's probably worth it as a trade-off to make the whole thing sturdier. So we made that adjustment. Cool. Oh, Maxine, good night. Don't worry about staying late. It's totally okay. Of course you need to get your rest, especially because it's a school night or work night. I just say school night because it's more funny. And it's 10:30. That's pretty late. So you didn't miss much. There's only a half hour left. So thank you for stopping by. I'm glad you got to participate and hang out a little bit. And you sleep well. And catch you next time, I hope. Okay. Now that the floor will not, now that the wall will not fall off of the floor, so I had that little side detour. Let's finish off the floor here, and then we'll be able to move on. So I'm going to lay in. Oh, you know what? Since that continues on, maybe that, yeah, we'll do that. That'll be sturdier. All right, I'm sure you wanted to hear me mull over things to myself. I have a thought on how to do this while keeping things a little sturdier. So we're going to switch from dark brown to reddish brown, or just plain regular brown, but Lego calls it reddish brown for some reason. We are going to fill in along the wall. Yeah, we do a little dot in the middle. All right, I like this. This is going to be good. I did mention I had these little chairs on pieces, and I have this. I kind of showed this before, but this is these little jumper plates, and they're almost tiles because they're mostly smooth on top, but they have usually a single stud, and that stud is usually offset by half a stud, in from the directions the places they normally are. And so it lets you do some different placements. And I like these a lot because they also let you attach something to it, but it kind of looks like it's just sitting there on a tile. So it's like the floor still looks smooth, but there's that little attachment point for a chair or a person or something, so you can keep them in place while still maintaining the smooth look of everything else. Yeah, I think it does. There are some older pieces that are brown that do have a slightly darker shade versus the more common shade of brown, which I think is why they have distinguished as reddish brown as a distinction from past pieces in their colors. All right, let's see how to fit this in here. So one challenge with that little curve is that does kind of screw me up a little bit in terms of what pieces will fit. Yeah, so what I'm talking about is this little curved balcony. It looks beautiful, but you can't really fit things as easily in there because it's there. It kind of throws off the alignment a little bit. So what I will do is I'm going to raise it up. Sorry, these things just come to me. I'm like, oh, of course, I'll just do it that way. All right. What I'm going to do is we'll still put this in here. All right, we will fill in the rest of this space. And so I was keeping the sort of pristine, nice, smooth top of the, with these black tiles to kind of do a smooth top of the the balcony, but instead I'm going to do a little trade-off. I'm going to raise up this corner piece. I'm going to use some pieces that are over here. I'm going to use, sit on my pillow. These little round 1x1 plates. Stick them on the bottom of the balcony. And now the balcony will go in there. It will sit on top of those tiles. Yeah. And so now the floor looks kind of smooth and continuous. That curve is there. There's no gap in the light gray. And it fits together quite nicely. So I like that. I do need to, because I took out this piece, there's this extra little stud here. So I want to cover that one up. So I'm going to do that. Cool. And a little misaligned as well. Let me find, oh, jeez. Right now I'm looking for a 1x3 black tile or a 1x1 to fill in that little space at the end. I'm dropping stuff. I can hear it falling. So this is the downside of going super detailed and not planning things out in advance, because it does get a little slow, and I apologize for that. I'm very self-conscious about what it's like to watch me do this portion of the build, since it's less possible to plan out because I'm kind of making decisions on the fly. I don't want to make that uninteresting for you to watch. So always open to criticism. Ashley, I know you will not hold back and you give great criticism, but everyone else very welcome as well. What I can do differently to make this still fun and interesting for you and creatively flexible for me. All right. I found the piece I want. And boom. Look at that, look at that. We have now made a nice balcony raised up to a nice height. I didn't even notice that tile on the corner. And save that for something else. And we are now able to also have a nice looking floor with the chair fitting in. So I'm going to plop this little chair down in there. Come on. I think I mentioned this before. One downside to me building all of my exteriors first, which I find honestly a little bit more visually interesting, especially because that's what you mostly see. I do like the interiors to be done just because I feel like it's a more of a finished product, but it definitely takes longer. And because I do build those exteriors first, reach in then after the fact to do the floors and interiors, not super easy. It's a little messy, a little tough sometimes to fit in there because the confines are sometimes a little tight. But we can get it done now. So now, if you can't see, I'm doing the other corner here. The little studs to raise up the curved balcony again, so it can sit over top and hide those little jagged corners there. Alright, and turn the corner chair. And boom, closer and closer to a finished product. So now I'm going to quickly fill in these side floors. this is nice because it's filling in the floor, making it look good, but also adding a little bit of strength by fitting over some of these intersecting parts of these plates that live underneath here. So the whole thing is stronger and less likely to just fall apart when I touch it, which is always a plus. Great. And again, just to have a little bit of interestingness to it, I'm going to add a little light tan to the middle of this. So it's like a little bit of an inlaid floor kind of look to it. Sorry, kind of forget where the camera is again. I need to look up. I need to remember you were there. All right. And thank you, Midvani. It's awesome to say. Kids from the hobbyists. I like that. All right. How many real houses mortgage? I mean, in the world, that is a great question. I have been crazy blessed in life that has not been a necessity. Plus the other downside part that I haven't had a home because I've been renting and saving up. So I hope to buy in the future. Not the easiest thing in New York City, especially not the easiest thing when the market decided to go freaking insane, at least if you're a buyer, as everyone moved out. So my current aspiration is to continue to rent here in the city, but then get a place like upstate, ideally like on a lake or by a mountain, and then the basement will be my big Lego display and also a vacation destination. And I can finally have that full city. I can take all my buildings out of storage and finally see them all together in one place. I have the design already mapped out for the layout of it all, or at least a lot of it. So that's my aspiration. I actually came close to it this year, but then the pandemic hit and everyone moved out of the city. And so all the property outside shot right up. So I'm waiting for it to cool off before I make that splurge. But I'm lucky to be able to do that at all. So sorry, babble there. All right, cool. So we have the hallway done. Look at that. Look at that. There is room for a plant. I'm going to do a little plant on the side here. And luckily, I just had some pieces that earlier we threw into the basket that are still on top that I can grab to do this. What should be the base of the plant? I'm sorry you can't fully appreciate this. I should show you what I'm doing. So, over here on the side, I took all these formatted sorted Legos out of the closet. So these are all by color or by piece type. And there's another little display over here to my left by piece type. And then in my closet still are at least 3 times, maybe 4 times as many unsorted Legos that are just in giant bins and boxes that I have not sorted through at all. So it's a mess. I have way more pieces that would be great and practical to use if I could find them because they're in all the mess of unsorted stuff in my closet. But I have one bin that's relatively convenient to pull out, and so that's what this is. This is my readily accessible miscellaneous bin. So that's why I'm doing some dumpster diving, looking for the parts to be the base of these plants in the corner of this floor. Frank, we know what to do with it. We've never known what to do with an intern. Now we know what to do with an intern. Next time we get an intern, they're going to do my Lego sorting. So that's our new plan. That's a brilliant suggestion. And if anyone asks, I'll say it was your idea. Because it was. You just said it. You said we need interns. I need interns. That and helping optimize search. It'll be a two-pronged activity for the summer. Okay, I'm gonna find these pieces now. I found something else to use. All right, so I was thinking something white to be like a contrast against the floor, and so I'm thinking, oh, I'm finding all these pieces on the floor with my feet that fell out of the bins. I'm thinking something white for the base of the plants in the corner here to contrast against the floor. So let me switch back to build mode, and what I'm thinking of is like back in here, in this little corner back here, I put some studs on the ground to hold a plant, a little vase. Cool. Short Queer Bear, thank you for following. Awesome name, awesome to have you. Good decision to follow us here on the Transverse Network. So thank you very much. I'm gonna add in now. You came just in time to watch me add a little plant to the floor. There's a little plant back in the corner there, and then we'll do one on the other side. So I found this little weight piece to be the base of our vase, or planter, or whatever. Stick that over there. Boom. Now I think we can call this done. There's also a place for pictures here on the outside. I don't know if I know what I want to put there. I did this big like gold frame thing on the side, which looks cool. It's a little too big to fit into this space over here. Right, so I think I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try something. I hear you on have the intern do a spreadsheet or something, but the labor intensive part I need help with is actually going through and sorting the pieces, which is a nightmare. I do not want to do it. I have a friend who's the head of strategy for our digital strategy, e-gaming and something else for the NFL, and he's a very stressful job. And he's like, I would love to relax and just sort pieces. That blew my mind. That sounds so horrific to me, but I'm totally gonna take it up on him. He has a newborn, so maybe this will be a nice little balance. He can take a break and just come sort my Lego pieces. All right, I'm gonna find these. This little container are all of my printed, or not all of them. This is some of them I've found so far that I've sorted of these little printed Lego pieces. And so what I'm hoping is something in here will like work as pictures to put on the wall there. And maybe do a little map. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, a couple maps. Maps are appropriate on the wall. Yeah, we'll do some maps. Quick, lazy, easy. Boom, boom. Alrighty. Town history mural. Oh, of course, I would absolutely do a town history mural, but that is so much work. I mean, there's kind of a place that maybe on the first floor that could work. Yeah, but also it needs to be like a horrible town history, right? If you're going to do it, you do it right. You do it as a horrible town history. I don't readily have pieces for that. Sorry, I'm just having another side thought as I'm doing this. Maybe, like, the attachments in these wall are 2 studs wide. I think I want to offset this. I think I want it to be 1 stud wide. So I'm going to find some different pieces to put into the wall there. That'll give me a little bit more flexibility in placement of these pictures. Ooh, and I can do 1-sided. No, I'll do 2-sided. No, I'll do 1-sided. All right. Sorry, you're getting lots of live thinking from me as I figure this out. Sorry, forgot, you can't see. I'm going through a bin of these little pieces. And what I'm thinking is, I was looking for brown. It doesn't have to be brown, but it's nice that it blends in with the wall. I was looking for this thing, and just like there's that headlight piece that we looked at earlier that has an indent, I'm trying to find a brown piece that's has a stud on the side, but is not indented to hang the picture with. And I don't find many brown ones for some reason. These are all indented ones, so that's the right color, wrong shape. There's lots of other color ones, but I don't see brown. Do you see brown? Don't see brown. Luckily, I have several bins of these. And right off the bat, brown. Boom. Okay. So what I was going to do is break the wall apart a little bit. This can be dangerous. It can mess things up. Yikes. Oh, geez. Yeah, this is getting bad. This is destroying it. All right. Finally got down. I'm going to put in the 1x1 brick. And then a brown 1x1 beside it. And we'll try to reattach this part of the wall that I just destroyed. And on the other side, we'll do the same thing. Not an official way. This is definitely the downside of me not playing ahead, that I just do all this destruction along the way. But we will... It's literally creative destruction, I guess, right? We tear it apart so we can build it back up better. That felt oddly philosophical from me not playing ahead. All right, and then boom. And so now the reason why I did all that, now there's this one little stud sticking out of the wall instead of two, is that I can now place this off-centered. I can have it evenly spaced on either side, and I can potentially even put another little frame around it, just like I did these pictures, and it won't fill up, and it won't like touch the door or touch the edge of the wall. It will be centered on the wall because it's now 5 studs wide, and this lets me position something in the center on it. So I'm going to go get those pieces to build another frame, and I will be back once again. So I apologize, I keep walking away, but bear with me, please. Hopefully this will be worth it. All right, right back. Luckily, I did not need much to finish these off. So what I'm going to do, I'll lift this aside. I did not get very far in this. I'm like, I'll finish it tonight. Nowhere close, but that's okay. I will try to shake it up with different builds in between, so I'm not doing the same town hall for like a freaking year. All right, we're gonna put the map in the middle here. I did not find a single 4x4 plate, so I have 2 of these nougaty color plates, which is the same color I used for these picture frames on the current wall. I'm going to put the maps in the middle. And then I'm going to use these gold pieces to build a frame around it. So we will add these little like grate pieces. I need 8 of these and 8 1x1 round studs for the corners. But I like this. I like that the pictures in the main hall here will have matching frames. I feel like that is a nice little, you know, the decorator was consistent in how they filled out this building. That's the lore we're dealing with. Alright. Man. So this is the downside of sorting by color. Is that, sorry if you can see, I'm like holding back pieces trying to reach the little tiny bits that fell at the bottom. You should sort by type. That's the quote unquote right way to do it. Because the human eye can more easily distinguish pieces of the same type but different color. So if I had a giant bin of these grates and I just need to pick out the gold ones, it's easier for me to do that versus doing it in a bin of all things that are gold, because things blend together more, and smaller pieces tend to fall to the bottom, which makes them harder to get. So doing by type means all that you're ever digging for is the color that you want, which is much easier to sort through. So it's also way harder and requires way more re-sorting, and I've already done all this color sorting, which is very pretty, so I'm not going to go through that, or not without several interns who will do it for me. It won't be an unpaid internship, because that's kind of bull, but I'll like pay in like alcohol. I think it's appropriate, right? No worries, Frank. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's so awesome to have you here. I really appreciate you taking that time to stop by and see this. You rock. I hope I do not leave you in too much of a lurch when I go on vacation for the next couple of days. But you've been crushing it on your own forever, so no big deal there. But yeah, thank you again for stopping by. You have a great night. All the best to Dean and the missus, and I'll catch you later. All right, bye, bud. All right, so we now have our 2 picture frames. Oh, I just realized you're like 3 minutes away from the end. So Frank, you made it all the way. Good job. you did it. All right, we're gonna hang the picture on the wall, and because I have this stud, I can do it off center. Now it's a little lower than this one. I don't love that. So let me see if I can find a way. Here, I'm gonna also, we'll put this underneath so I can angle it up so you can see it a little bit easier what I'm doing. But I'm hanging the pictures on the wall here. Now, these pieces, because I had to use these 2 pieces, I can attach it here or attach it here and have it be centered. And so I tried the low one. Now I'm going to try the high one. Yeah, high looks better. High looks better. I'm just going to rotate that. Boom. So now we have these 2 frame pictures on either side of the double doors to the mayor's office. All set. Cool. And they're nearly the same height as the ones on the wall, so we'll count that. We'll say that was totally meant to be. In fact, maybe I can maybe raise these ones up. Let me try to do that. I can. Sweet. All right. Because if you're going to hang pictures in your home, you try to do it at a consistent height, which I've kind of done in here, sort of. Boom. Now the center outside part of the upper floor is done. Still have to do the mayor's office. So this little space here will be the mayor's office and balcony out there. So still have to finish that, but I feel better about it. I'm thinking I'm going to do a different color floor, like I'll do maybe a dark green to match the wallpaper, and there'll be a big desk there and 2 chairs behind it, bookshelves on either side of the door. So I think I got a plan for that. I think that will look nice. And then we'll do the offices on the side. I will love your insight for those, for what should go inside these wings of the building. Like, yeah, I'm thinking one side is like a clerk. There'll be like a waiting line behind glass, and you'll like get your permits or whatever on one side, and the other side, I don't know what they'll be, but I'm thinking, trying to make them not just be boring offices, have a little bit of variety to them, to make sense in the town hall and be visually interesting. So this space and this space right here, what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, geez, I almost threw that on the floor. Let's move these carefully and switch to me. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming by. All of you who stayed, that's so awesome of you. This is a big time commitment, and I appreciate it. Whether you're closely watching or following the background, no matter how you're participating, it's wonderful to have you here, and I appreciate it so much. This is always so fun. I do have a good time. I hope you have a good time. I'm, like I said, very open to any suggestions I can do to make it interesting, but it's fun to be able to share this, and more importantly, to spend time with you. I'm glad it seems like the technology worked out, except for me having to switch cameras at the last minute. Yeah, and I hope you get to just build a bank robbery. I have done that. My very first building. All right, we're going to go a little over here because I'm going to show you the bank robbery I made. So my very first modular building, I built a bank. And I, of course, staged a bank robbery. So here's my modular Lego bank, very first modular building. Did all this stuff. And then later on, when I had a few more buildings, I staged a bank robbery. Oh, it's not in this gallery. It's in... Where did I do that? Maybe here? Yeah. So this is when I built several buildings. I was putting them all in a row together, both official and non-official buildings. And then in one of these, I'm like, all right, here they're bringing money out to the cash truck. And then there was a robbery. Where is this picture? I'm sorry. This is a long, slow slog to it. Oh, I swear I saw a picture that was titled Lego Bank Robbery. Mysterious SUVs, both have 4 figures inside. I feel like I was telling a little story. And now I can't find it. Because I had people coming in through the roof of the bank, all kinds of crazy stuff. Dang it, I don't know where this picture is. I'm sorry, that was very misleading of me. I agree, bank robbery is a great idea. I could have sworn I took pictures of it. I don't know where they are, but they do exist somewhere. Again, oh no, it's the next gallery. I was looking at the wrong gallery. I'm an idiot. So here you go. SUV slammed into the money truck. Oh geez, I have like people dead out here. This is grim. There's dropped guns. There's people shot. There's police have blocked off down the block to keep a cordon around it. Those are my old janky police cars before I upgraded them. Oh, there's my SWAT truck. I built a SWAT truck, and there's a SWAT team coming in with shields, getting ready to engage, because there's hostages, of course, now. There's more SUVs coming up. They're opening up the barriers to let in some more. I'm guessing FBI and other police coming in. We have and an ambulance. Yep, there's news reporters at the barricades, being held back by uniformed officers, waving this guy through. There's the SWAT team going in. Actually, they have SWAT on their printed on their figures. Yep, there's a medic tending to an officer. Oh, jeez, this was grim. Look, see, there's another dead officer out here. Jeez, what happened? All right, guy in a bullhorn, shouting in demands. SWAT on the roof, snipers on the roof. What was I doing? This is dark. All right, more people coming out, being held back. More barriers, reporters. That was an official Lego set. That wasn't mine. I just threw it in there. People running away. Snipers. Oh, people on the roof. There's SWAT on the roof of the museum next door, coming over to the skylight into the bank. So they came up through the museum up onto the roof, and now they're coming over to it. Jeez. There's so much here. I forgot about this. All right, so that was quite a side detour. But a great thought, a great thought. I don't have a spy one yet. That's just the police one, no spy one yet. Okay. That was a long side trip down at the very base end, but great question. I'm glad I could immediately serve up something for it. But yeah, as I was winding down to say, this has been so fun. And for those of you, I think we had 3 followers tonight who have chosen to follow. Again, thank you so much. You will not just be getting me, you will be getting the other 2 people who build on Builder's Block. You'll be getting to see great shows like tomorrow. Jeannie is doing Behind Open Doors, which is a great show that dives a little bit into some deeper and meatier and sexier at time topics, especially affecting those of us of trans experience. But it's really in general, and Jeannie, who's a mod here, does an amazing job with that show. So definitely check that out. That'll happen, I believe there'll be a next show tomorrow. Also, we have our flagship show, the Transgender Show, returning on Tuesday with Emily, who's the amazing host of that show and the founder of all of this, who interviews people. before another episode of Builder's Block. And in between, you might catch Valkyries on Friday, where they sometimes do streaming and gaming. And returning in September, Queer and Teen Kitchen with host Billy, both here and on Instagram. It's a great show. And you know what? First show coming back after her move. Who is going to be her guest for that cooking episode? This one. I'm going to be on her show. My first time ever being on there. I'll get to lead her return here and on Instagram with Queer and Teen Kitchen. So please tune in September 6th. I will be on there. I have no idea where I'm going to cook, but I'm going to be there. Oh, yes, talking burlesque, consent, and sex work tomorrow. That is deep. So check that out with Jeannie tomorrow, Behind Open Doors, right here on the Transverse Network. You are wonderful. This is awesome. I really have enjoyed it, as always. Yeah, once again, this has been Builder's Block. I have been Jess. You have been awesome. And I can't wait to not only share with you again in the future, but to see what you have to share. And so if you'd like to, there is on our Discord, check it out, our Discord. There is a Builder's Block chat in there. People can share in there. We can chat there. It's a good time. And until then, you keep going out there. You keep creating and building things and sharing out into the world. And making this a better place for all of us. And until then, I wish you the very best of nights, and so long.